Welcome to the special course on ERP selection process. Enterprise resource planning applications revolutionize the way organizations function with high level of collaboration among different departments and functions. The integrated view offered by ERP allowed organizations to streamline their internal processes and plan more empowerment at different levels. All this comes with sufficient control on the overall framework planned. Though the term ERP appeared first time in 1990s, the genesis for such applications was in 1960s itself. Manufacturing industries were on the rise post-World War, and industrialization. Improvement of global resources fueled the consumption of products by global citizens, leading to high demand. Manufacturing sector grew very fast, and in the process identified that they are operating with multiple suboptimal processes. Large players started focusing on optimization of resources for maximizing their profits. The first idea of improvement was identified in inventory management, with large sums of capital get stuck and also losses due to various reasons cut profits further down. The inventory optimization engine graduated towards material requirements planning or MRP, and slowly to global integrated systems emerged to be named as ERP. As ERP started evolving, covering more and more processes, it started growing in complexity. Because of the complexity, identifying appropriate applications for any running organization is a tough and challenging task. While it is considered to be a complex task for a simple organization, in most cases, organizations start looking at ERP adoption after achieving certain levels of growth, which makes the organization also complex. In these conditions, approaching ERP adoption needs a well-defined process, and this course is intended to provide the overview on running such selection process. Ever since it kept its head out of the process and evolved out of inventory to MRP and to ERP finally, the ERP applications became leading enterprise-wide applications for transaction management. While ERP handled transactions within a department and across departments efficiently, it became a huge warehouse of data, which in the later avatars explored for delivering value through analytics. When organizations look at adopting ERP, which application will fit to the organization is a very complex decision needing extensive exercise. We cannot have a small group of individuals understanding the entire gamut of transactional processes. At the same time, we cannot involve a huge number of people in the decision making in the interest of achieving a consensus. So this course is intended to explain how to drive the decision of implementing or changing an ERP application for organizational effectiveness. This course also lists down various steps to be considered for selection of most suitable applications, considering organizational challenges, regulatory requirements, and various other constraints. The ERP selection course helps you to learn how to approach the ERP initiative in an organization in a systematic way. It provides you all the required steps. You can also learn on developing business process maps and current infra setup maps also, which is a very critical step before you start thinking about suitability of an application. It is important to learn on creating a budgetary proposal for the board of directors to consider the investment. You can learn on shortlisting of suitable applications and reviewing the same applications considering the criteria developed by the senior management. You can actually learn how to build comparative statements to drive the decision. The comparative statement obviously covers the criteria that is outlined by the senior management. And finally, you can learn on developing the ROI of ERP initiative. This course provides maximum benefit to two categories of the attendees. The strategy consultants who want to drive their customers in a systematic way for selection of ERP. Then the critical group of the customers, the CIOs, IT heads, enterprise architects, who drive generally the ERP initiative in an organization to shape their own internal strategy. It will be also useful for the CFOs or financial controllers to understand various aspects of budgeting for ERP and where it can go wrong. It will be very useful for the business process heads whose transactional processes are covered by ERP to understand the level of automation ERP can bring in, the amount of changes ERP can bring in, and the most suitable value they can gain because of the automation. A lot of other functional people like auditors, HR heads, and quality team managers can attend this course to understand various aspects of ERP selection as it impacts the organization and also the employees at large. As mentioned in the earlier lectures, ERP selection is an extensive process. To understand that, we have to consider understanding quite a few other aspects as well. So the lecture 1 focuses on introduction of this course, which is the current lecture. In lecture 2, we can understand the basics of ERP. What is the ERP application, how it evolved, and what is the value it is providing to the organizations across the industries. Lecture 3 focuses on why organizations need an ERP. Exactly what is the intended value the organizations can look at and what kind of changes that occur in an organization. Lecture 4 focuses on organizational readiness for ERP. The organizations should be ready with certain basic prerequisites as mentioned in this lecture. But apart from that, the readiness in terms of identification of the power groups or the political corners and impacts of data democratization and the transparency of the processes will have on those groups. Lecture 5 focus on the current technology and business process maps. And lecture 6 looks at how to shortlist the applications and invite the expression of interest from the product vendors. While shortlisting, it is very important to consider the guidelines provided by the senior management on the 3 criteria for the ERP. Lecture 7 explains how to build the budget and the timeline planning for the purpose of ERP adoption. This includes the buying of the application, training of the internal people, implementation, change management, and transition. Lecture 8 provides how to handle the product demos from the various shortlisted vendors and how to build a comparative statement considering a set of criteria on which we can compare the products and come out with the best product possible. Finally, the lecture 9 helps us how to calculate the return on investment of the ERP and how to drive the final selection process.